On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We are at a very interesting place in time. We have somebody in office that's literally making that final move, a move that probably really, all intents and purposes, seems to have started with John F. Kennedy, though didn't go well. But we knew what problems we were into, and Trump obviously learned a lot in his last administration. This Signal app and what happened in this leak and all of this, the way it's playing out, especially optically, it's obvious what's happened. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to bury it a teeny bit, not far. Right after I do my first commercial, we'll go ahead and get into what's up. But I'm guaranteeing this is what's happening. Assuredly. Got a lot going on where we're also making a huge difference. Things are looking up in the Russia war and maybe sort of not looking up, trying to, I would say, with the other war there in Israel. And again, just some really interesting stuff that's coming out right now and some things that I'm going to keep on the front burner, maybe for an extra day. So we'll rehash a couple things, but got a lot to talk about. I wanted to let you guys know the Friday music has been pulled. I haven't finished recording it and all that, but or even laying it out yet, but I've got all the songs pulled. We're doing kind of a 90s hits kind of thing. Should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it anyways. A lot of good songs, kind of fun songs. I don't know, it's a little different than what I've been doing lately. I've been doing a lot of this like White Album type stuff. But it's been fun. I've been enjoying that. So that'll be happening. Just to remind everybody, I'm interviewing Mike Lindell. I won't be doing it live, but I will record it and then I will put it out. I've got some cool questions I'm going to ask him that I think are relevant. I don't think anyone else is going to ask these questions either, by the way. So it will be unique from that standpoint. So I look forward to that. And then starting the new show on Thursday, just to cover all the bases. Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I will be doing that. It's going to be kind of a spiritual show, just sort of focused in that direction. But I'm definitely going to start the Law of One. I'm doing the first 2 sessions, and I'm going to end up doing the entire series of the Law of One. Whether you like it or not, whether nobody shows up or thousands of people show up, not sure, doesn't really matter to me. I'm going to do this show. The show matters so much to me. I very much believe this is a huge part of what I'm here to help with, and I think the Law of One is a very, very powerful message. And I think it's something that a lot of people are ready to hear. And I do think it's part of the awakening/ascension process. So a lot going on. Hopefully you'll join us with all of those things. And the music shows Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I don't think I mentioned that. All right, let's get into the actual news. Okay, this is really funny. I'm thinking a lot of people out there are actually going to look at this and say, yeah, seriously, how the hell can he see them? And then once we're done, I'm going to show anybody that doesn't understand how this works. But this scared me a little bit, and I think this is legitimate. You're starting here.
How can the mirror see me? Can you see me in the mirror?
Yeah, I can see you perfectly.
I'm sorry, how is that possible?
Because it's reflecting you.
But it's not, there's a towel in the way!
All right, calm down.
I don't understand. I don't...
Well, go really close. How does it know that?
What do you mean?
How does it know?
How can it see me? My face is covered by a towel.
It's so...
I'm not even being, like, this is weird Matrix shiz. How can the mirror see me? How can it know I'm doing anything? How does it know?
I actually don't know. Please, somebody explain this.
Explain it!
Please explain. I've seen videos where this happens, but I don't understand. I actually don't understand this.
How can it see me?
So, well, think about it.
I am not
No, wait.
mirror.
Think about it, right? How on earth can that sit? That is not possible.
Freaking me out.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like I'm in like a weird, different world.
I just superly hope that people really understand how reflections work. And for those of you that are like, no, seriously, how come he can see him? It's because he's not looking at where her face is, which this would be where her reflection would be from her perspective, right? But from his perspective, he's actually looking on this part of the mirror. And so when the light hits that part of the mirror and bounces off and then hits her in the face, that's how he can see her. That's why this towel doesn't matter. It's angles is all it is, angles of refraction and reflection. And I think it's more reflection than refraction, whatever. It honestly scared me a little bit. And maybe it's not people in my audience. I'm praying. Maybe there's a few of you. You don't have to admit who you are. But yeah, it scared me just the fact that people don't understand that. This, I I want to like George Clooney a little bit. That's all I got to say. I want to like George Clooney a little bit.
Happy you did it?
Yeah. I'll make it kind of easy. I was raised to tell the truth. I had seen the president up close for this fundraiser, and I was surprised. And so I feel as if there was a lot of profiles in cowardice in my party through all of that. And I was not proud of that. And I also believed I had to tell the truth.
Happy.
Yeah, so he had to tell the truth, I guess. I mean, again, he's a Hollywood liar, and Trump's point's kind of pretty good. Like, what changed his mind all of a sudden? Why did he dump him like yesterday's trash? And I think he realized the dude is a mess. So, there's kind of something to be said about that. Whatever the case is, I don't know. I'm not speaking for him. Technofog put this out. We have President Biden's written answers to Special Counsel Hur. They highlighted stuff that they felt was really important. It's talking about where Biden lied. We'll just kind of call out some of this. So to the best of my knowledge, I did not loan or give my notebook to Mr. Zwanitzer or anyone else. I believe that was the guy that was writing the book for him. His infamous notebook or notebooks were where he would write down all sorts of things. So he would make notes about classified briefings, by the way, and then take the notebook with him. Now, every once in a while, I don't want to read all of these. There's a bunch. But it's just him basically saying, if I knew I had anything wrong, I wouldn't have. The boxes I had in my garage from when I was in the Senate, well, I don't know. I never looked at what's in them. But here's the thing that it demonstrates to me. That this dude's been stealing secrets for as long as he's had access to them. And his notebook that was just accepted, though no real CIA person, like any real heavy, like the lead of the CIA, like every book I've ever read, whether it's true or not, like these individuals don't write stuff down. They've got like minds that work really well. Because if you wrote something down, it's evidenced. You can't do that. Even if you burn, sometimes you can, there's things you can do, right? You can destroy stuff, like obviously we know that from Mission Impossible, right? This tape will self-destruct in 10 seconds. Those kinds of things have to happen. You don't walk out with frickin' notebooks. Ever. And not have someone look at it and just like flip through it and be like, dude, you can't do this. Oh, really? I can't write down all the information about this top secret thing I just found out about? So yeah, Biden was doing this for years and years and years. It's no surprise. Now, maybe it's a surprise to some of the crazies on the other side of the fence. I doubt it, because they're probably not aware of the information. But here's a guy, I don't know if he cusses. I don't think he does. He might. Who knows? I like it. Shit, I'll just throw one in there just in case. If he doesn't, I did. But this is a Democrat. And I've said before, Democrats don't want to become Republicans. I think all of us should be cool with that. Like, first off, I'm not a Republican. You guys know that, and you still watch me. So it's not important what party, but it is important that they're not Democrats. You know what I mean? They can be independent. They can be whatever they want. They can just don't be Democrats anymore. Check it out.
Voting for Democrats in the year 2025 is an act of evil. And I'm not telling you to vote for Republicans. I'm not, because Republicans suck so much and they make me angry so much. But you cannot allow yourself to ever vote for a Democrat until that party ceases being completely demonic. Bringing in felons from everywhere on the planet and releasing them as fast as you can in the general public is an act so evil. I'm not sure prison is enough punishment for the people who did it. Frankly, I believe that should come with capital punishment. If you are a Democrat, whether it be a bureaucrat or politician who purposely facilitated the release of violent felons onto the streets of America, I believe you should be tried, receive a fair trial, convicted, and I believe you should go to the electric chair. That's what I believe. The United States of America cannot possibly survive this level of treason from one of its two major political parties, and I'm not even close to exaggerating when I say capital punishment should be on the table for anybody who did these things. That's how tremendously evil that is. You remember that State of the Union that wasn't the speech Trump gave. Remember the look on Jocelyn Nungari's mom's face. Remember the look on Laken Riley's mother's face, and some barbarian Joe Biden let in on purpose massacred her. Capital punishment. Voting for Democrats in the year 2025 is an act of evil, and you can't do it.
They're figuring it out. Again, I don't know how he figures out how to wear his hat. It's just at a weird angle, right? Like, how do you get that just right? Wow, it's incredible. Incredible, I tell you. So, yeah, people are waking up to this. It's not just, us figuring this out. Okay, folks, this is going to happen in a lot of places. And people are going to blame everybody under the sun on this. They're going to blame Musk, right? And this is how simpleton minds work. Simpleton minds are going to take what others are telling them and then run with it, right? And that's how you'll know. It's because it's someone else's opinion, and they'll come and tell you it's true. And you're like, where'd you hear that from? I heard it from this individual or this channel or this or that. It's like, where did you see the original information? No. Okay, thanks. So they say right in here, and this is the new lady, Dr. Susan Monarez. She is the lady that is now in charge of the CDC. Our friend, RFK Jr., put her in charge. RFK Jr. likes her. RFK Jr. approves of her. Now, what's happened is people that are sheeple, no offense if it's one of you, sorry, but people, they listen to what other people say, and they're like, oh, well, there was this post that was done on the CDC director's tweet or Twitter or whatever the frick. It was done last year, whether or not they're even aware of the fact, but they found this tweet on this channel at CDC director, and it said something like pro-vaccine, pro-this, whatever, right? You should put as much, what's the one for your teeth that messes up your pineal, right? The good Lord, fluoride, sorry. Right? Like, oh, they talk good about fluoride or something crazy, whatever the case is. I don't know, there's probably a bunch of shit in there. And they instantly say, this lady's bad. Well, it says right in here, acting director at CDC Gov. Note, posts prior to January 20th, 2025 were from former CDC directors. Not her. They have to keep the channel alive for historic purposes. It is a government official channel. So yeah, it's going to be all sorts of crap on there beforehand. Pay attention to what you see. Try to get dates. If they're intentionally leaving the date off and saying something salacious, something's not right. Otherwise, that date would be in there. Now, I will give you guys a little hint as how as radio and TV work, and I see this all the time. No offense to Before It's News, though. You guys aren't really doing me any favors these days. That's for sure. But I see a lot of people that take very old videos and pass them off like they're new. Ben Fulford's one of the best. They'll be stuck. Unfortunately, Ben and a few other people are Cliff High's another good example of someone that I love the fact that they put the date in all their videos. So you're watching a video that someone's posted like it's new, and he's literally saying this is December of 2024. Yeah, it's not new, right? So this kind of stuff does happen a lot. But when you put a date, you kind of tell people, yeah, this is how old or new it is, which is bad if you want a video to live forever. But it's good if you want to be accurate. So just it's one of those things. One of the tricks of the trade. I try to be very accurate about it. I post every day and it shows that. And then I even talk about what day it is frequently. So I try to, help with that. My videos tend to get views for about 3 days. And then it's just nothing, pretty much. Secretary Kennedy posted this in regards to the post, just basically saying what I was just talking about. And he basically said he handpicked Susan for this job because she is a longtime champion of MAHA values and caring, compassionate, and brilliant microbiologist and a tech wizard who will reorient CDC towards public health and gold standard science. I'm so grateful to President Trump for making this appointment. So basically saying, dude, she's awesome. Just understand these are older posts. These ex-posts erroneously attributed to Biden-era tweets supporting masks, lockdowns, vaccines. Again, this is how people are. They're very simple. I don't know. You got to learn to ask questions or you are going to get destroyed. We've talked about this, but it's fun to hear Trump talk about it. He doesn't just come out and say it like so many of us want him to, which I'm kind of glad he doesn't. He says it the way Trump says things. All things that Trump talks about, he talks about from a very vanilla standpoint. He has to. He cannot and will not connect dots for us. Once again, he cannot and will not connect dots for us. But he will tell us and talk about the dots.
Such a waste of... this is a shame what I've watched and witnessed. They spent a fortune, $250 million, and they built these rooms that nobody's going to use, rooms underground. And I've often wondered, what are the big cubes that they have outside that block the view? They're cubes with a door in them so that people can get down to rooms that nobody's going to use. And it's a shame. It's a shame. The other thing is we're going to have a little problem with some people that work here. We had Lee Greenwood wanted to sing a little song today, and because of the cost in the union structure, for him to sing a song just for the board, just a board meeting, it was going to cost $30,000. That doesn't sound too good. They wanted $30,000 to move a piano, so you can't have that. So we're gonna fix it up. But it's really emblematic of our country. But the Kennedy Center, you look at the columns outside, you look at, I mean, they're supposed to be covered by something, whether it's marble or whatever, granite. They were never covered. They were painted. But bringing it to more modern times, a lot of money's been given to it, and the money has not been properly spent. They built rooms underground with no windows, no nothing, that will not be used ever. You're not going to have people use them. It's such a waste of money.
He specifically said exactly what's up, right? Exactly what's up. Rooms, no windows, rooms underground, said it multiple times, never ever connected it to anything else, right? And that's the thing people have to understand. Trump is talking to all Americans. He's not just talking to Q or awakened people. We've got it kind of figured out. So, kind of in all honesty, it's a waste of his time to talk to us, right? Unless, I mean, like the arrests and stuff, which we're going to talk more about. Social Security has purged around 7 million vampires listed as 120 years of age and older. They say there's around another 5 million to go. They've literally cut 7 million people, making, just to throw it out there, if each person was making $1,000, that's $7 billion. 7 million thousands, or 7,000 million is 7 billion. And they've still got 5 more million to go. Now, I don't know how much people get. I think if you're not getting any jobs or anything like that, then I think you can get up to like $2,000 almost. Maybe it depends where you live. I don't know all the rules about Social Security, and I don't want to, frankly. I just know I have to pay it, and I hate that. So 5 million more to go, but the 7 million maybe times 2. Shit, that's $14 billion, plus another $10 billion on the way. This is saving us money and making Social Security more viable, which is saving us money. FBI new task force probing Tesla takedown anarchist blog. This blog is apparently like in some African country, which is very interesting. So they're checking into this blog. The individual that owns this app, I would be very nervous, buddy, when you go outside. Seriously, I would be very, very concerned about potentialities of things falling from the sky, because it happens sometimes, you know? It happens. But yeah, their task force going after this, task force going after the people locally. They've got 10 people working on it. I expect to get some more arrests, and we'll talk about them as they happen, unquestionably. This was just funny as hell. Babylon Bee getting credit for this. It's a picture of the IRS building, and on top of the IRS building, they put a giant Tesla sign, hoping that maybe the people on the left will actually burn down the IRS instead. Do us a favor. Be like, oops, we were going to put it out, but there were so many people in front of it, it made it dangerous to do so. A very good little piece of video here, and I love it. And we've got some more from this grilling, if you will. It's during the SIG stuff, right? This is what you guys are, if you're in it for the thumbnail, this is the parts you want. Skip ahead if you need to. It's cool. I'll get there. But Senator Angus King, his mind is blown that D&I Tulsi Gabbard doesn't consider climate change a critical threat. I love her answers. I love the fact that she keeps answering it the way she answers it. And I love the fact that if climate change is not considered one of the biggest threats that the United States faces, then guess what? There's zero reason to fund it. Games are being played, folks. Games are being played.
Every single one of these reports that we have had has mentioned global climate change as a significant national security threat, except this one. Has something happened? Has global climate change been solved? Why is that not in this report? And who made the decision that it should not be in the report when it's been in every one of the 11 prior reports?
I can't speak to the decisions made previously, but this annual threat assessment has been focused very directly on the threats that we deem most critical to the United States and our national security. Obviously, we're aware of occurrences within the environment and how they may impact operations, but we're focused on the direct threats to Americans' safety, well-being, and security.
How about how they will impact mass migration, famine, dislocation, political violence, which is the finding, by the way, of the 2019 annual threat assessment under the first Trump administration? You don't consider that a significant national security threat?
For the intelligence community, being aware of the environment that we're operating in is a given. What I focused this annual threat assessment on, and the IC focused this threat assessment on, are the most extreme and critical direct threats to our national security.
Let me ask a direct question. Who decided climate change should be left out of this report after it's been in the prior 11? Where was that decision
I
made?
gave direction to our team at ODNI to focus on the most extreme and critical national security threats that we face.
Your direction include no comment.
When it comes to national security has to do with security. Weather is not a security thing unless it's being controlled by enemies of state. But we haven't had the ability to really declare war against the deep state, have we? We've had to be kind of more microscopic in our intents, or a little more strategic, right? It's got to be Tren de Aragua or MS-13 or whatever else we come up with over the near future. ISIS, which used to be or is still technically probably Israel's secret intelligence services. But let's leave that aside for a moment. There's crazy stuff going on. Lawmakers face a deadline to raise the debt ceiling or default on $36 trillion of national debt. This can't fall on Johnson. They're going to have to pass a CR of some kind. Or, I don't know. Here's what really first hit me, and I hope that we've got something along these lines, because they're talking about us hitting the debt ceiling by mid-July. I think it's one of the main reasons why Doge is doing what Doge is doing. And it's why the deep state so desperately doesn't want to let them do what they're doing, because they want us to hit this debt ceiling. This debt ceiling is extraordinarily hard for our side of the fence to sell. And it should be hard big time. But we've got to get control of things. So Trump and them are going as fast as they can. We'll see what they're able to do. I also think he's working hard to get sales of gas, natural gas and oil. In fact, OPEC's pretty pissed off about the fact that we're already doing that, because we're affecting world price. And we're not lowering or curbing our production like they want us to, because we need money. Trump knows that, and he's like, I don't care, guys. You can cut your production if you want. We need money. We're going to sell some oil. We're going to sell some gold. We're going to start making some money. So as he starts making money, as we start saving money, that debt level may never be reached. So it's in the news. We're talking about it. We might run, well, we should run right up to that one. We'll see what happens. But this is one of the things we're trying to keep from happening. Now, if it does happen, that's probably not a good sign, per se. Chinese tech stocks have plunged from their 3-year highs to corrections in just 5 days. And then I also saw within Zero Hedge, which is not disparaging in any way, but I just didn't want to try to talk about it more. I didn't want to have another slide up. But they've talked about how the Chinese tech stocks are going to really just come after us hard with their open source AI models. So Still, what's happening, and it is what it is. China steals a lot of our information, and they kind of maybe make a small change or improve on it or whatever, right? I mean, they're smart people, unquestionably. And so they then put out an open source version. Now, what the real problem with this is, I mean, one of the tech companies, they've got their whole side of it. Yeah, I get that. What I honestly see the real problem with is every time they come out with some crazy new version of this product, this AI, we then go and download their apps or use their software. And if we put it on our phones, which is what most people do, especially if it's an iPhone, I'm not trying to rip on Apple, but you can't turn a lot of the shit off that you need to be able to turn off. It's controlled way too much by the phone. Apple is was a big step towards the whole communistic thing. People don't like droids and stuff because they don't like how much control you have. They don't like it's too much to figure out. It's just, I want something simple. So again, I'm not ripping. I know a lot of people are taking it that way. iPhone makes a beautiful phone. It does. I hate it from the standpoint of you can't turn shit off, and there's a lot of things that matter to me. So again, it's how it is. So we've got this huge tech thing going on. China, this is the only way they can really fight us, because there's no way they can fight us really in a war. They really can't yet. And since Trump's in charge and fixing things, there's really no way they're going to be able to in the future, most likely. So China's in a tough place, and their stock market's showing it. They're experiencing things. Now, they can adjust currencies, and they can do all sorts of things. They can handle things, which is also something that's funny, because they're trading stocks on our stock market. And the companies that are in there, we have no oversight of. They don't actually do any of the proper legal reporting that's supposed to be done. They don't do it. They get exemptions for some reason, which I'm curious if Trump ever somehow is able to do anything about that. But you either do all the standard reporting, I'm drawing a blank on the stupid term. My girlfriend's the accountant. I know it. I know double entry. I used to have to fix back-end stuff. I worked for the VP of finance. I know finance very, very well. I'm drawing a blank on that stupid, the reporting requirements. There's two different ones, and whatever. It's okay. My girlfriend's screaming at me right now. She loves all that stuff. FIFO. She's all proud of herself when she knows that. And that's not the F around and find out. That's just first in, first out. So different thing altogether. All said, we got a lot going on. I don't think the system's in as good a shape as they're talking about. They're ignoring, the Fed did not lower interest rates because they fear that the tariffs are going to cause inflation, which it most likely won't. It didn't. When Trump was in office the first time and started doing tariffs with China, it did not raise the prices much anyways. And really who it affects is the middlemen. The middlemen get robbed. That's awesome. But the actual end product, if you raise the price too much, no one buys it. They just know that. It's just the way the game's played. The people that have to eat most of that tariff money, that's in the middle, the middlemen. Between China to here, there's companies that made gobs of money. They're getting screwed. They're the ones that are paying the tariffs. And if, again, they raise the price too much, it's I don't want the goods. You can leave them on the dock. And they're they got to move this stuff. So their margin got squished. We're also finding out that a lot of the U.S. aid money is not being pushed around like we've been doing. So there's God knows how many companies across this planet that used to get our money and are no longer getting that money. How this affects the stock market, how this affects the dollar, there's a lot to talk about. As far as the Federal Reserve, that's a whole other thing. I do not believe they're going to stay solvent. I think we have to get rid of the Fed. We have to. Supposedly has been subsumed within the Treasury, which to me seems like that should make that easier to do, because essentially we kind of already own the systems or have wrapped our arms around the bigger picture. But now it's an issue of shutting down that and maybe just defaulting on some of the debt that goes to the Fed and not necessarily anything else. And the whole world's kind of got to do it at the same time, or it doesn't work well, right? It's kind of like what happened with Russia. They end up going the hard direction, and everybody hates you, but Russia still managed to get through it. So good on them. They're tough as hell. The system's changing. They've been telling us forever that stocks are forever. It's like diamonds almost, right? Stocks are forever. Well, they're kind of not. Stocks are tied to $1 right now. That's still questionable. Again, a Federal Reserve note, maybe the dollar swaps out, but if it's $1 backed by gold, it's going to probably not be started at the same denominations that we've currently inflated to. Meaning, if really a $1 bill should probably be equivalent to a $100 bill in the Federal Reserve System, and as far as what it's worth. So it can't be a one-for-one exchange of debt. We'll see how it plays out, but there's a lot of questions about it in the big picture. Precious metals right now are an investment that everybody's getting into, and it backs currencies. Precious metals are a very smart move. It's a physical. You're owning it yourself. They don't necessarily send it to you if we're talking about your 401k or IRA. If you actually want to buy precious metals, you can buy them from them as well. They've got multiple suppliers, many suppliers, great products. I am a customer. Definitely bought precious metals from them. Love it. Very happy with the experience. They let me do DocuSign. It was quick. It was easy. Boom. Boom. 401k, IRA, same concept, except there's a lot more steps that are involved. One, you got to get out of their system, move that over. Then it's usually got to get parked into some account. They've got to shop and find precious metals because they literally buy them. So then that happens. So now you got precious metals. They need to be put into like a trust. That has to happen. And then it gets put into a safe location. Because if they gave it to you physically, that's the same thing as cashing out. They can't just hand you a bunch of silver and you'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do anything with it. I'll hang on to it. It's cool. It's safe. No, as far as the IRS is concerned, you've taken possession, which you can choose to do afterwards if you'd like. It's physical metal, yours. Literally. You could be like, I want it all. I'll pay the taxes out of my own pocket. Like, I don't know exactly what the legal things are, but yeah, it's yours. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Up to 10% of the face value of whatever your 401 or IRA is, up to 10% free silver. They're highly rated, 5-star rated company, amazing customer service. I absolutely was dumbfounded. I've done customer service my whole life, and I'm extraordinary at it, by the way. I am exceptionally good. And I'm touting my own horn. That's one thing I am very, very damn good at. They were impressive to me. That's what I'm saying. They're incredible customer service. Ask any questions. They're there to answer them for you. They can't give you legal advice, but they can answer questions. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. If you've got a qualifying 401k or IRA and you put the data points on this bad boy, or if you put the data points in and then call within the 20 minutes, a pop-up will happen. You get this free coin too. It's a half-ounce Ronald Reagan coin. Thing's awesome. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. It's like a gateway into a new world that is going to help you. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Time is not on your side. Price of gold's definitely been going up. Silver, too, been going up. It's on a little downward motion, at least was yesterday. Stock market's doing great today. That's awesome. You got some of those losses back. It's a good time to think about it because the wobble of the top is happening. We don't know exactly when it's falling over, right? You guys get me. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Let's put up as many of these as possible. There we go. How about that? This was just funny at the beginning. I don't know how much of this I'm going to play. I think I got about a minute into it, and I was like, all right, that's funny. And they wanted to shut him up, and he wouldn't let them. So, funny. Let's check this out because he's talking about what happens when Trump derangement syndrome hits you. And I bring this up now because we're about to get into, I think, some of the fix of the Trump derangement syndrome, if you will. Check this out.
And Rosie O'Donnell should sue mainstream media for what they've done to you. And Piers, I brought some photos of pre-Trump and post-Trump. Look at this. This is Rosie O'Donnell before Trump, right? Nice, good. Look what happens, Piers, with Trump derangement syndrome, all right? Rachel Maddow. Look at how hot Rachel Maddow was. And then look, Trump derangement syndrome. She looks like Stephen Colbert. And then look, Kathy Griffin, someone that I might have hooked up with if I was drunk. They turned her into Carrot Top, okay? That's what it does to you people, okay? You guys have lost your freaking mind. Oh, excuse me, I'm not finished. And Piers, in that interview, she's like, I can't believe sexual assault, because when Conor McGregor came there, she supported Bill Clinton. How many sexual assault rape allegations Biden...
All right, we're probably good to stop it here, but yeah, funny as hell, though, right? I mean, especially the one with Carrot Top. That I have to admit, that was funny as hell to me. Funny. I think that's why it made it when I saw the Carrot Top one. He even chose, like, Carrot Top looks a lot better now. When he was doing the roids and stuff, he was all geeked up. That dude was jacked and totally messed up, and eyeliner. Anyway, whatever. It's a crap picture of him. Not that I'm sticking up for him. All right, so Jeff Goldberg. The nickname he's being given right now is Ass Clown. Possibly Ass Hat would also work, but either way, you're seeing a consistency there. But this is a guy that had the story at the Atlantic, right? This is the guy that got invited to the Signal meeting is really what ended up playing out, or so we're hearing. Now, I think there's a lot of things that are not being said. There are some things that are publicly being said. That's the optics. And then there's the reality. And I'm going to get to the reality of it when I get to after John Ratcliffe does his part, because ultimately that was what's like guaranteed it for me. It was my first hunch on this whole thing. And then I was seeing all the information. I'm like, all right. And then Ratcliffe, I'm like, yeah, this is what's up. And to me, this is beautiful. The way Trump is playing this, he is removed. We'll demonstrate. The person that's taking the fall isn't falling, but getting some shame. This played out perfectly. We'll get there. So this guy, he's a douchehole. We know that. We don't need to. I guess we can listen to it. Let's go ahead. I don't know. It'll probably suck for all of us.
Jeffrey, your story, it hurts. It hurts to read these quotes aloud from the President of the United States disparaging veterans. Can you take us just into your reporting and why you felt confident publishing this?
Well, I felt confident publishing it because I have multiple sources with firsthand knowledge of the President's views and comments. That's the only reason to publish anything. And I felt it was important to publish because in my experience, in our collective experience, I don't think we've had a president who has contempt for American soldiers, wounded veterans, people who've been killed in action.
Jeffrey, your story.
Oh yeah, he was the one that was pushing that whole narrative that Trump, and it was the way they cut the story too, which is really funny. Again, it's just But that was the one where he called them suckers and losers, I think, if you guys remember that one. Anyway, Senate Intelligence Committee gets first crack at DNI Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe, right? So they're all excited. They got to hammer him up today. We played a little bit from that, but that wasn't in relation to the Signal part. Two more were among the 18 people on the Signal group chat revealed today by the Atlantic Jeffrey Goldberg. So there was 18 people on this chat that apparently this guy was invited to somehow. Seems to have been accidental. Someone's fallen on the sword. We'll get to it. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he's launched an investigation digging into this. He's like, recent unauthorized disclosures of national security information involving sensitive communications with principals within the Office of the Secretary of Defense demand immediate and thorough investigation. I request the prompt assistance of your Director for Defense Intelligence, or what they call counterintel or counterintelligence, law enforcement and security, to support OSD in leading an investigation into unauthorized disclosures in coordination with the appropriate overseeing information security systems and in coordination with federal partners as required. The use of polygraphs in an execution of this investigation will be in accordance with applicable law and policy. Now, what this implies, albeit not super strong, but I think strongly, is that however this individual got into this chat in Signal, how he got there seems to be of question. Almost wondering if maybe he was added. It's certainly not impossible to add people. So if, for chance, one of the 18 people in this Signal chat decided to add this individual. Now, again, the boss took the fall so far. We'll get there. But anybody likely can add. And then, well, I don't know how Signal works, certainly not on the government side, but I would imagine it's even possible to get invited to stuff by people outside of the group because they've got administrative abilities. Pretty sure those types of things are happening. So here is Tulsi Gabbard. Well, here's the Ratcliffe part. Tulsi starts this little talk, and really it ultimately goes into Ratcliffe and his answer. The audio sucks a little bit. I apologize for that, but the other place I was getting this video was just smashing advertisements all over it. So this is about as good as I could get or find, but I think it tells the story we need it to.
Because this is currently under review by the National Security
Because
Council.
it's all classified. If it's not classified, share the text now.
As the White House previously
Is it
said,
classified or non-classified information on this text?
I can confirm.
Director Ratcliffe, were you on the group chat?
Senator, I was on a Signal messaging group.
So you were the John Ratcliffe on that check?
I was.
Thank you, thank you.
Can I provide some context, Senator, to that?
Yes, but I've got a series of questions.
Well, but I think it's important because at the outset you made a couple of comments about Signal messaging using encrypted apps. So that we're clear, one of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was Signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that I was briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of Signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration to the Biden administration.
Dr. Ratcliffe, I've got a series of questions. If you're making the statement, if you're making the statement, the Signal is a secure channel.
No, can I answer that? It is.
I've got a series of
decryption. So
it is. I understand.
It is permissible to use to communicate and coordinate for work purposes, provided, Senator, that any decisions that are made are also recorded through formal channels. So those were procedures that were implemented. My staff implemented those processes, followed those processes, complied with those processes, and finally, just please. So my communications, to be clear, in the Signal message group were entirely permissible and lawful and did not include classified information.
That's a huge point. Okay, so first off, everything they're making a huge deal about, well, nothing classified was discussed. What he's also telling us, and this is like I said, they're going to give you the dot, they're not going to connect it. This is an application that was forced onto his computer, forced onto 18 people's computers, most likely. Who wants to bet the CIA is not directly behind this Signal app? Signal app is a secure app. Okay, anything that's sold as secure is not secure. Not that it's hackable. Probably very hard to do that, but already has backdoors built into it, for sure. Mossad, CIA, all the above. The Deep State Intelligence Agency, there's a lot of people that are like, the Mossad was behind, the CIA was behind. It was one of the two. No, they're the same fucking thing. Man. Please. They're just the same thing with two different names. We are finding out that this app is shit. That somehow this app was used to frame. Donald Trump was asked about it. He's got complete and total, plausible deniable? I don't know.
Mr. President, your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time. Anybody else?
So these Houthis, he's saying, if they were talking about it, didn't change anything because we just rocked them. We rocked them, Amadeus. That song's not getting played this weekend. I don't know if that's 80s or 90s. I don't remember. Probably close to either, but whatever. You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist. Here's Hegseth at least getting a chance to chime in.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back, it was purely defensively or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence. We will open freedom of navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Why were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
The NSC said it was authentic.
Nobody was. So they're trying to again they're probably talking about potential different types of targets first off, and we know how they spin stuff. That's how they do it. So types of targets, which could be command and control. We could talk about anti-air. We could talk like those are types of targets, not specific locations. There's a huge difference between that. Sometimes you create corridors so you can fly planes in or fly missiles in. Sometimes you do other things. There's electronic warfare countermeasures there's just... So, again, the way they're spinning this from the deep state side is that we messed up. Now, what's going to happen through all this is Signal is going to be probably removed. We'll see. I'll bet you. Or it's going to be greatly reduced because they don't want to necessarily give Signal a bad name. That's very likely. I hate to say it that way because you may not ever know. But I guarantee you policies with Signal from here forward will be very spelled out and likely dialed down a little further. Trump defends Waltz after the Signal breach. Waltz is kind of having to take the fall on this, but, Trump's like, hey, he learned a lesson. He's a good man. That's what Trump told NBC, right? So basically saying, all right, the guy did something slightly wrong, no biggie. Nothing was released that shouldn't have been. And key ingredient that we're also not mentioning, and it could be more important than the app itself, but doubtful because the CIA, believe me, and Mossad or whoever. But it's the fact that I almost guarantee we caught the leaker. There's a key leaker on the inside, just one. And I think that individual had a lot to do with this particular situation. They have a policy not to talk about certain things on the Signal app. This dude somehow got invited and wouldn't have been if everybody on the call knew he was there. I'm sure somebody would have said he shouldn't be here. That never happened. So was he in there under disguise, which is very possible, where it didn't look like it was reporter what's-his-face name? Again, there's a lot we're not being told. How they deal with this, we'll see. But we're not supposed to know those types of things. So we'll probably actually not see, really. But this is the part that the public's going to get to experience from behind the scenes. We just caught leakers. We just shut down a hole. We just found a big problem and resolved it. This is another one of the things that maybe Trump might not have known about yet. And Ratcliffe probably just learned as well. New tools, new tricks, and you shouldn't trust any of the shit they put on your machine. And Ratcliffe probably doesn't. I doubt he ever uses it for anything secure. Please. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, he wants an investigation into how this serious thing happened. Yeah, whatever the case is. Here is us attacking the Houthis, basically. Whoops. I've spent so much time growing up near a Marine base seeing F-18s. Good times. It was not the variant that we're seeing nowadays. It was way long ago. But we've been using the F-18 for a very long time. It was actually the training base. I want to say one of the major training bases for the 18s at the time. It's since been shut down. Beautiful base. It's a shame. White House says no war plans or classified materials were shared in the Houthis chat group. They've obviously looked at it. There's, I'm sure, documentation, which should tell you how secure it really is, by the way. FBI Director Kash, and Ratcliffe was in there, by the way. FBI Director Kash Patel is strongly refuting a CNN report alleging he is implementing a major cutback of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF. There's a story that went around with CNN. Patel's come out literally and said, no, this is fake news. And he says it's never going to happen. So whatever. Just a lot of the BS that's happening. People are buying into a lot of it, and they're going to continue to do that. GOP-led House is going to hold hearings on judges who have blocked Trump's actions. Jim Jordan is behind this whole maneuver, going after these activist judges. Not sure if they call out now. They don't call them out by name. Boasberg's one of them. Who else we got? Anyone else? There should be a few of them, I would say. Anyway, yeah, they're going to dig into that. 5 transgender service members ask the judge to shield them from military ban. There's going to be this kind of stuff all over the place in District Court of District of Columbia, by the way. So I'm curious. This is going to be where we're going to find out how many cases Reyes, that was last week. Judge Reyes, appointee, she indefinitely blocked Trump's order on transgender troops. So now she's going to get this same case again. These 5 individuals requesting a block, and she's, I think, backing that up. This is insane because it's none of the court's place. This should lose at the appellate if it ever had to make it to the Supreme. It'd be insane. It's like you're telling the commander-in-chief what he can do and not do with his military? Are you kidding me? No, they don't have rights. First off, you sign your rights away, to the best of my understanding, when you become a military individual. You didn't get a choice when they said you wanted to get vaxxed or not. I think they kind of had a choice. But and I guess it mattered when you went overseas. Because I remember back in the 90s, and then maybe it was different then, but all the people, they were bummed about getting that anti-anthrax shot, right? There was a lot of people that were a little nervous about that. Like, that was then. People that were already awake a little bit, by the way, who, very good Marine friend, a guy I looked up to, who's a few years older, ended up getting helicopters. He graduated second in his flight class, got helicopters, which is still cool, but not nearly as cool as jets. But yeah, he was an awesome dude. Never forget him. He actually got me into Oingo Boingo. That was kind of the cool thing. It was him. I looked up to that dude a lot. But he didn't want to get the shot, but kind of felt like he had to, right? Or else, what happens is, they told us all you're going to get anthrax and die otherwise, right? Or they're going to shoot a Scud missile at you and that'll kill you and give you the anthrax. Or what was the other one I forget the other ones they were telling us about at the time. But they're trying to nerve gas. There's a nerve gas in there too. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The state of Massachusetts has sparked fury for releasing migrants accused of horrific crimes and refusing to keep them detained for immigration authorities. Literally, Massachusetts is taking people convicted of serious drug trafficking and child rape charges, literally releasing them so ICE can't come and get them. This is what you're doing in Massachusetts. Any of you guys in Massachusetts, going back to this, wherever that story was, and you're supporting this, you are guilty. And I'm going to say the same thing about the death penalty when we finally get down to some of that. I mean, hey, someone's sinned and all that, but you want to be the one that pulls the trigger? So I'm saying, because it's a karma thing, kind of. But if you can support what they're doing, releasing criminals onto the street, if you can support that, that's pretty jacked up, isn't it? So this is part of this odd separation that's occurring. And interestingly, and this is sort of funny how karma works, really, or just how the irony of life always works, right? The more, like Musk's got all of his little theories about how, which choice, right? The funniest one or whatever. Like for me, the most ironic outcome is almost always the one that's going to happen, right? Like that's why you never say never and stuff like that, because you're just, like, for me anyways, you're just asking for it, like you're begging. So this is a big step for this separation. And there's going to be a number of people that are going to die on this hill. And there's a number of people that are going to be like, I don't want to be affiliated with these people. We are making the Democrats seem so dirty and gross that most of these people that have been so worried, they wanted a virtue signal. They were so worried what people thought of them, right? That's their whole driving force. I'm good too. Yeah, I thought I was just being nice the other day. And I gave this homeless guy, I gave him $1. Yeah, it was awesome. What can he buy with $1? Nothing. But that's all I had. Yeah, virtue signaling. These people are the ones that are now looking bad. These are the people that are like, everyone hates me. And the only way to fix that is to stop being in the group that's hated, right? So they're going to convert into independent or maybe Republican, who knows? It's happening. It's ugly. And this is how it's happening. A lot of people don't realize it's got to be ugly, or it would be really hard for a lot of these people to come across the aisle. Tom Homan saying some more crazy stuff about, how much fairness did Lake and Riley get? You're dumping all these criminals on the streets, you bastards.
Look, I'm not an attorney, but I know how to read. I know the Alien Enemies Act says, and that's what we did. President Trump, through proclamation, put the Alien Enemy Act in play, and that's a law that was enacted by Congress and signed by the president. He invoked his authorities under the AEA, and what we did was, following the AEA, we removed not only national security threats, terrorists. Everybody in that plane was Tren de Agua or MS-13, which have been designated terrorist organizations. So we removed them. When they talk about due process, I said it this weekend, what due process did Lake and Riley get? What due process did all these little girls who got murdered and raped, what due process did they get? What due process did the young lady who was burned alive on the subway, what due process did she get? I mean, bottom line is, we follow the statute of the AEA, and we're going to continue to arrest public safety threats. Now, we may be holding on more arrests on removals on the Alien Enemies Act, but it's not going to stop us to keep arresting TDA members, taking them off the street. And we're going to continue doing that. We're going to continue arresting public safety threats without apology.
Without apology. I love a man that can just do what he's got to do, because frankly, that's what it's come down to. I don't mean man, person. I love a person that can do what needs to be done. To a large extent, it's like, to me, it feels like it's leadership, but at the other side of it, it's like just doing the right thing, being an example to others, especially those of us that tend to try to hold higher moral values and generally pride ourselves on that. Sort of a weird form of spiritual virtual signaling, I guess. Kind of, but yeah. GOP moves to authorize Trump to wage war on cartels through military force. Greg Stubbe, I talked about this the other day. I don't want them running through our streets. Military needs to stay out of our streets. FBI should handle that. But I love the idea of declaring war against the cartels if it needs to be done. But that would mean that we could use military force on the outside of our border, in our local neighboring country. Like, we're going to be like Israel and Yemen or whatever, right? Or Syria, right? That'll be us. We're going to be launching attacks into Mexico. And we'll probably, Mexico's going to have to get on board. I'm sure there's going to be fun with the president, because she's sort of half controlled or threatened by the cartels. Like, we're literally going to free Mexico, and then Mexico will become united with us, however that demonstrates itself on the map. Pole worlds. Like, we are going to be responsible for this whole part of the globe. And there's two other poles at least that are going to be responsible for the rest of it. And maybe England gets one of the, I don't know. I don't know if there's a fourth pole. I've only heard 3. 3 is kind of a better number if you ask the Chinese, right? 4 is bad choice. Don't like 4. Number 4 sounds like death when they say it in Chinese, so they don't like that word. We had Jim Jordan talking about all these judges and the craziness that's going on. He was on with Fox News. Let's go ahead and replay this.
Frankly, there's the broader issue of all these judges' injunctions, and then decisions like Judge Boasberg, what he's trying to do and how that case is working. We're going to have hearings on all of that, because particularly when you look at Judge Boasberg, it starts to look like this is getting totally political from this guy, particularly when you remember he's also the judge who was part of the whole Trump-Russia FISA court, granting those warrants that allowed the Comey FBI to spy on President Trump's campaign. So we're going to look at that issue as well. But hopefully we can get that bill passed next week on the House floor, move it to the Senate, hopefully get it to the president's desk.
What do you think you're going to find here? It seems to me like it's pretty black and white. You find the judge that's going to rule in your favor, and it's been going on for 20 plus years.
Yeah, that's why we want to limit it to just that jurisdiction, just the parties of the case, so it doesn't have nationwide implications. But yeah, there's the way the left operates. They go to these judges and they go after President Trump, as the speaker indicated, disproportionately more there than elsewhere. But with Judge Boasberg, think about this. I mean, I think the president, with his order on these gang members, sending him back, or sending him to El Salvador, I think constitutionally is on solid ground. Article 2, Section 1, first sentence, executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. Statutorily, the Alien Enemies Act, predatory incursion, that's certainly what this was. Gang members coming here illegally doing terrible things. And then finally, you got this judge saying this crazy decision, turn the plane around, bring the bad guys back to America. That makes no sense. So when you look at all that, coupled with this judge's history with the FISA court, with the sentence he gave to Kleinsmith, the lawyer, Kevin Kleinsmith, who altered the document in front of the FISA court, it really starts to look like Judge Boasberg is operating purely political against the president. And that's what we want to have hearings on, this broad issue and some of what Judge Boasberg is doing. And so we're going to start those next week, and we think Senator Grassley is going to do the same.
I'm super curious if they somehow find out or decide that's treasonous like that. Maybe, again, can they impeach for that? I've been saying kind of no. I don't think so. But I think there's other ways this can be dealt with. I think if legislatively they can certainly put in some roadblocks because, again, if for some reason the judicial branch is able to stop the executive branch, well, then obviously the legislative branch is able to stop the judicial branch, right? And so that'll be fun to see. That's not constitutional. Well, neither is what you're doing. So what's the diff, right? What's the BFD, as we would say? The Trump administration is invoking the state secrets privilege to withhold any additional information from Judge Boasberg. He's been shut out of this case as far as any of the stuff he's acting for. They have said under the Alien Enemies Act, period. And all he can do is say, I disagree and don't think this is the case. And they'll be like, we disagree with you. So what do? We appeal it from here? Because you certainly aren't going to be able to force us to do this. We're not doing it. This is what we're saying. They played their hand. Judge Boasberg is done. Or at least for now. HUD Secretary Scott Turner, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem established partnership to end illegal alien exploitation of housing programs. A lot of illegal aliens were getting assistance for housing. Not our own citizens, not even people that maybe are here as true white or true citizens, gone through the citizenship process and maybe need help, right? But maybe they're from another country. Not helping them. No, don't give a crap about you. Just a bunch of people that are here illegally. Rewarding. No, these guys are putting an end to it. It's going to save us a bunch of money, too. U.S. Post Office and all the people that are like, what's going to happen to them? I don't know. Like, we should probably make it easy to fly them back. That would be my thing. I don't know. You guys up for that? What do you think? What if we offered, like some airline, when we pay taxpayer money for a period of time, like if you're somebody that's now down and out because we literally just shut you down, you were here illegally, we shut you down, you and your family are having a hard time, we will literally fly you back home to your country. We'll do it, unique flights, special ways, but yeah, we'll fly you back. And then you're good, all right? You can go meet up with family or something. Because that's really the only option we have. They're going to say, oh, what do you just kick them in the street? No, I feel bad for them. That's really sucky, but we're not going to keep giving them money. No. Sorry. Yeah, that's not going to keep happening. So we're going to try to offer up something, olive branch of some kind, right? We'll fly them home. U.S. Post Office General DeJoy has resigned from the role amid budget cuts shakeup. This dude was like a mob boss. That's what I always thought of whenever he'd talk. He had that real thick, I think, Boston accent or whatever. The dude's a dick. This dude is a fucking first-class dickhead. Oh, Louis DeJoy. I don't know how you got that last name. Do I dislike him? Yes, he's like a mobster boss. This dude's a dick. I got Boston friends. I don't think they're all dicks. I mean, a chunk of them. You guys in Boston are angry. I mean, the weather, I understand, is most of it, but yeah. Guess some of the best comedians in the world. Here is Secretary Kristi Noem revealing the plan to eliminate FEMA.
I want to thank the Secretary of Defense and the Navy for all of their help and partnership too. We do operations together because their obvious Navy warships are in certain regions, but our cutters are faster and can work together in a partnership that's securing America. And we're going to eliminate FEMA. So we've got a lot to do, but it's all good and we're working hard, and we're going to make sure that we're continuing to do exactly what you promised.
Man, hot, sexy, and smart. I'm telling you. If she has a sense of humor, too, oh, my Lord. It'd be even worse for me. Trump cuts $3 billion from congressional deal. He hated gross. Why would I want to do that? Let's see, $3 billion, much of it reserved for foreign aid. This is more of that, all the bullshit money that the Bidens were pumping into all sorts of stuff, wherever they wanted to send it. So much non-discretionary spending was kind of the funny thing. So what's funny, the usage of that word way too many times, what's very interesting is Biden had all these accounts set up that were non-discretionary. Congress is like, yeah, no, here's $25 billion to put into the thing that goes to kids with one leg. Yeah, we'll put it in that fund. No discretion on how it was spent. No oversight, nothing. They'd put someone in charge of the organization. They'd funnel it off into multiple LLCs. This is how it has been. Little to none of the money that they put in these funds goes to the thing that it actually sounds like it's there to create, like the Clean Water Fund for children in Nigeria. So like of that $3 billion, I'm making one up, but that probably exists, of the $3 billion or $100 million, maybe less than 1% actually goes to try to get water that's clean. And it might just be one village or one city, or like we'll buy one purifier in one place, or like get an Arrowhead thing and just start shipping a bottle of water, like one of those 5-gallon things of water. It's just in the middle of the town square. Just some little poor kid's got to come and put the damn water on top of the thing when it's actually empty. And they're like, look what we did. And they pocket the rest. This is literally what they've been doing for eons. Here is our good friend Elon Musk talking about a lot of the cutting they've been doing. It's a pretty cool little moment.
Well, the case of fraud was with the Small Business Administration, where they were handing out loans, $330 million worth of loans to people under the age of 11. I think the youngest, Kelly, was a 9-month-old who got a $100,000 loan. That's a very precocious baby we're talking about here.
Well, we're tackling the fraud, waste, and abuse in the agency. We've seen, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud go unprosecuted, so we're taking that on. We have a zero-tolerance policy for fraud, and we continue to crack down on it and make sure people are held accountable.
It's amazing. And you have a lot of that. We've found far too much of it. It's a pure fraud. We like to use the words waste and abuse because they sort of sound good, but many of these things are pure fraud. Now, there was a contract that you've heard about where Stacey Abrams got $2 billion just before we took over, and it was a...
Yeah, they're pulling that money back, too, and we've talked about that. SSA Acting Administrator Dudek confirms that the 11-person Doge team at the Social Security Administration no longer has system access privilege. They've finished their job. That's it. 11-person team no longer has access. So all the people crying, well, they're just trying to... No, they don't have access anymore. They wanted to audit. They did their audit. We've made a huge difference and just saved $20-30 billion a year. A year in Social Security payments, and probably more is coming, but we'll get there in time. So yes, we're making a difference. We're fixing things. There's a story going around. I have not found the original. I didn't go looking too terribly hard for it. Did a little digging, not much. Very little, let's put it that way. But supposedly, RFK Jr. is talking about removing Big Pharma's abilities to be able to advertise on TV. This would be the greatest thing of all time. This would be phenomenal. Now, again, drslikescold.com. drslikescold.com. Think about it for a second. Big pharmaceutical companies no longer have the United States market to constantly advertise to and tell us what we should ask our doctor for. Rather than your doctor prescribing because you're actually sick, you're being bombarded with imagery. And for those of you that understand manifestation, they are making you sick or sicker. And then you go to your doctor and have them look for a specific something. And, there are some symptoms that would indicate it. I knew it, right? It's like WebMD, right? When you go online and put in your symptoms and all of a sudden you've got like jaundice or you've got AIDS or whatever. I don't know. You end up with some horrible disease. It sounds like I've got like rectum cancer. And it's like, but your tooth hurts. And he's like, I know. But the symptoms I put in, it said it could be rectum cancer. It's like, so we are changing the world in such a way that one is going to cause them to want to kill Trump even more. That's why Trump doesn't fly to other countries right now. He probably doesn't go a lot of places. Inside the United States, there's probably certain corridors that they can guarantee. I guarantee you also that they've got all sorts of craft around him.
So you know who the third one is that's keeping cable in business?
Pharma.
Pharma. Do you know what percentage of every dollar on sponsorship and ads cable TV gets from Pharma? What percentage is from Pharma? Percentage. For every dollar. Percentage. So think about movie commercials, car commercials, clothing commercials, all these different companies that do commercials, so many industries
Something
that do
ridiculous like 70%.
It's 75%. You're right. 75%. So check this out. Watch how crazy this is. Okay.
How is that even legal to do that?
Can you, while I'm doing this, just on your phone, Google what percentage of Pharma cable advertisement? It's going to come up saying 75%. Now watch this. 75%, right? Stay with me here. So now we have to answer the question, is it moral to advertise getting more people taking drugs? Okay, what's wrong with that? It's their choice. They got to do it. No problem. So then why is it out of nearly 200 countries in the world, only 2 of them allow pharmaceutical companies to advertise on TV, and the other 198 don't? Who are the 2 countries? U.S. and New Zealand. Why? Wait. I don't know. You mean to tell me Germany doesn't allow? Nope. You mean to tell me China, Japan? Nope. Not even Venezuela? No.
Damn, that's
Canada?
crazy.
No. Only 2 countries. Yes. Why? I don't get it. Because they allow it. 75%.
2 countries allow it. Us and New Zealand. And for my people down there, good old NZ. Right? I love the way they say Z. I always did. Z. They say Z. They don't say Z. They say Z. That is the letter Z in really Australia too. They call it Z as well. I assume the Brits do too. All you guys that speak proper English, is it a Z? Is it? My good friend Larry, you're going to have to help me out. I had a guy calling me mate the other day recently. I was trying to figure out where he was from, and he didn't take my hint of a question very well. I don't have to be more direct, I guess, from here. But we are reaching a consensus. And like he said, 75% of the media's budget, 75% of the media's budget is pharmaceutical commercials. If they make those illegal, to say it correctly, news agencies go, well, Rachel Maddow is no longer affordable. MSNBC is done. They would crush under their own weight. They would lose 75% of their funding. They'd be done. They'd be like living off their 25%, right? Want you guys to check out Pillows, and his cross too is really cool. And by the way, I'm having Mike Lindell obviously on in the tomorrow. I'll be doing a recording with him around midday, and I'm looking forward to asking him a couple questions around sort of the election stuff. That's one of the things I really want to get him to talk about, because I went to 2 of his things in Missouri, for those of you that remember. And love Mike. I shook his hand once. It was kind of cool. He almost came on my show one time because my sales were... You guys are really good to me. You guys are good to me, you're good to yourselves, and you're good to Mike. That's for sure. MyPillow.com/OTF. MyPillow.com/OTF. Again, when the products are incredible, which I think Mike has done. He's also got, by the way, a free center where he gets people off of drugs. I think it's very Christian-based, I believe, and I understand he obviously is, and we're going to have him talk about that as well. But there is a very Christian-based free program he offers to get people off of drugs. That's one of the many things that Mike Lindell does that's super cool. And he spent millions of his own money helping with the election integrity stuff, especially putting on those things that I went to. He literally paid for those. That didn't get charged through anything. They didn't charge us any money. I mean, it helped the town. I don't know if he got a deal or how that worked. I'm sure Mike's a good schmoozer nonetheless. This dude's done a lot. His company's awesome. It's made in America, obviously. This is his cross. He's very proud of this cross, and I think the cross is super cool. You can save 30% using the coupon code OTF. If you go to mypillow.com/OTF, it fills it all out for you. The phone number you can use, that's my phone number, like me. I'm not answering the phone, having to take calls all day at MyPillow. That would suck. That'd be backwards, right? But people that are, it gives me credit. You guys helping out. You get your wonderful products and you get a phone call and talk to a human. Maybe it's been a while, right? Great stuff, though. They got the mattresses, the super deep pockets. The corners are just awesome. So if you got a topper, which I do recommend as well, they make a great topper. They make a few different versions of it. They've even got that 2.0 technology on one of their toppers. I don't know if it's on sale right now. Probably not, but it's a freaking awesome-ass topper. It's got that cooling technology. I will say that is the most amazing thing about the 2.0 pillow is the cooling aspect. It literally does that. I don't know how. I'm assuming the shape has a lot to do with it because it's got kind of a funky shape to it, and so the ridges allows heat to escape. It's more surface area for a given surface area, so might have a lot to do with that. It's just a brilliant design, but it works very, very, very well. The fill seems different to me than the original MyPillow, which I am in love with. I love my original MyPillow. I finally got a king size because my bed, and it's just exactly like my queen was. It's awesome. This one, I don't know. The fill's different on these, and I guess they fill this. I don't know. I was hoping the king would feel like squishier, and it just didn't. It felt like the queen. I've got a lot of pillows, folks. I've made many mistakes in pillow buying. I have a great product to choose from. Got a good code, right? I use my own code. I buy them for the same price you do. But yeah, good stuff. And again, a topper, $99.99. You got a mattress that maybe needs a little love or needs some more time. $100. That's going to buy you some time. They actually have a mattress that I think can ship you. It's somehow put into a box. I don't know, $539 though. It's a great deal if you need a mattress. It looks like a queen, or that might be a twin. I don't know how that works. Check it out, though. Dog beds, too. Your dogs need to sleep as good as you, and you should have a dog bed in at least any room that you spend a majority of your time. There should be a place for your dog, of course, if you love your animal. Love it. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you have ever had. All right, Georgia, they're preparing mass cancellation of 455,000 voter registrations, people that have moved, died. You get the point. So big stuff. They're pulling that out of Eric. Also got some huge victories, 5 big victories that the RNC has actually scored for us. This is huge. RNC, good job. Good job, guys. You don't suck back when Liz Cheney was in charge of you, like then or whatever. You are actually good now. Or who was it? No, it was Ronna McDaniel, right? It was the McDaniel chick. She was the one running it and sucking hard. Not in a good kind of way either. Now, RNC, Arizona GOP, and the Yavapai County Republican Party, they sued Arizona's Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, alleging that they violated the state law when they adopted this new election procedures manual. Long story short, the courts basically said, yeah, you guys definitely are going against the law. You can't do that, so don't do that. Georgia, they got a labor union represented by Democrat election lawyer Mark Elias, the Clinton person, filed a federal lawsuit in October 2023 against the Fulton County Registration and Elections Boards. I think that's Eric, isn't it? Whatever. Or just their election registration board, whatever. But Georgia State Election Board, they challenged the state's deadline for requesting absentee ballots. Georgia requires absentee ballot applications to submit no later than 11 days. They wanted to make it closer. Why? Because they want to stagger that out as far as they can, so they can continue to pump in, the ballots. These what are the holy crap? The absentee ballots, right? Voting by mail, definitely cheating on that. So they're trying to shut a lot of the loopholes down. Restoring integrity and trust in elections. This is sued the Maryland State Board of Elections in January 2024. It's over a regulation that prevented 2 citizen activists from conducting investigations into whether the state was removing registration for non-residents, dead voters, and duplicates. The lawsuit alleged that the state law violated the Federal National Voter Registration Act, which requires states to make records publicly accessible that reveal whether they are maintaining their voter rolls. District judge said, yeah, you can't keep them from looking at it. A bunch of people are obviously going to come out of the records from that. And New York, we talked about this recently, that non-citizens are not allowed to vote in any elections in New York, whether it's local or not. If you're not a citizen, you ain't got a say. Sorry. You want to have a say, become a citizen, do it properly. Otherwise, talk to the hand, because the face don't want to hear you. That's what's going on. Democrat law firm Perkins Coie, they filed a lawsuit in November 2022 on behalf of the Vet Voice Foundation. the Washington Bus, El Centro de la Raza, and 3 voters against the Washington Secretary of State, the King County election, blah, blah, blah. Jesus Lord. The plaintiffs argued that the signature verification law leads to the disenfranchisement of voters when signatures in the mail-in ballot envelopes are deemed to not match. Disenfranchises people. Doesn't make illegal voters want to vote if they have to actually match the signature. Is what they're saying, basically. And the judge that came in said, yeah, no, they've got to match. We've done this forever, so nope, sorry. It's almost like some of these people realize what's actually happening. They're trying to take over our whole entire country. We stopped them already, and they're still putting the brakes on in some of the other places. The FBI is reportedly working overtime on a frenzied mission to redact the Epstein files before they are released to the public. I just sort of halfway want to prepare the public on this. We just had the FBI documents, which these might be similar as far as the level of information that we get. But we are not going to find out a couple things. And this is just telling you, prepare for it, okay? You don't have to like it. I don't care if you do or don't. Frankly, it doesn't matter. This is what's going to happen. It's not my choice. I just know this. So I'm not getting my emotions excited because I know I'll just get let down. They are going to redact any name at all that's involved in any case anywhere in regards to this. And I am 100% sure that there's a bunch of cases tied up in the SDNY, and those will at some point open up or warrant actual arrests or people being put in jail that we'll hear about maybe. But a bunch of people's names, everybody that was a victim, they'll be safe, right? So that's for sure. We're going to already mentally prepared for a crap ton of redactions. Now, every person that's involved in a case, that could be a lot of these people. So a lot more is going to be redacted. We're not going to find out a lot. We're going to see some people. Prince, what's his face? Andrew? That dude's going to show up, guarantee it. And probably a couple other people from England, most likely. Maybe some other places, Middle East, places that literally want to shame these people. It's going to be the people, I think, that we already know. So be prepared. I think more information's coming, but Pam Bondi's not going to... First off, Pam Bondi can't control what's actually hidden or not hidden. They're just trying to do their best to redact stuff that, public shouldn't see. That's ultimately still got to get looked over by, I think, probably Ratcliffe. Or, well, no, he was DNI then. Whoever that is, it's got to be overlooked by somebody just to make sure there's nothing there that is classified. This is going to be not what we want. It's going to be, I don't want to say a nothing burger. I think there'll be some stuff there, but it's going to be like a 5% burger. It's going to be a slider is what it's going to be. It's not going to be an actual burger. It's going to be a slider. A delicious one maybe, but a slider nonetheless. January 6th committee admits it doctored a text message between Meadows and Jordan. This is one bit of proof. And Adam Schiff, once again, is tied into this, which I think is meant to get that skillet a little hotter. Because Adam Schiff, especially with the pardons that they received that are now being ignored, and by Trump's directive especially, and that can be settled in the Supreme Court. Trump doesn't care. Adam Schiff's being investigated, and, well, we found something thus far, it sounds like. They created a graphic that quoted, I think it was Mike Pence at the time, and here's the quote. On January 6, 2021, Vice President Mike Pence, as President of the Senate, should call out all electoral votes that he believes are unconstitutional as no electoral votes at all, period. Now, this was sent from Mark Meadows to Mike Pence. Problem is, the graphic, the period at the end of that sentence was added inadvertently, we find out from the spokesperson. Oops, that shouldn't have been a period. The Select Committee is responsible for the regret and regrets the error. January 6th committee spokesman did not explain how one could inadvertently cut a sentence in half and eliminate the final 2 paragraphs of a detailed legal summary, nor did he explain why Schiff attributed the content to the text to Jordan, a lawmaker, rather than Schmitz, the attorney who wrote it. Oh, yeah, that's right. They were going after Jordan on this one. That's how we found it. So they were slamming Jordan by making information untrue. They've doctored all sorts of stuff, and we're finding out, and they thought they destroyed everything. Apparently, they haven't, and this is why they were destroying stuff, because of everything would just show how bad it was. Joe Rogan, there is a huge MMF fight going on in Montreal. He says he will not be there. Now, this is, you can't say it out loud, but he's like me right now. There are countries I would not go to. England's one of them. There's no way in hell I'd go to England right now. Almost guarantee I'll get arrested. Guarantee it. Right? All these countries that have these weird laws, Canada has them too. You can't say hate speech. Oh, I've ripped on Trudeau so hard. There's no way I could go to Canada either right now. So, yeah, this sucks. He said he'd rather go to Russia. I actually probably would feel safer going to Russia, to be honest. I feel like I might even get to, it'd be cool. I don't know. I'd say I'd like to meet Putin. I would like to meet him. I think it'd be neat. I think it'd be super cool. I've got respect for the dude. I'm not like, I'm not anti-Putin. I'm anti-war, right? And I think he's totally told the deep state to F off, and yeah, he's paid the price for it. Egypt made a new proposal for peace, the Gaza ceasefire. They're talking about giving, was it 5? I want to say it was 5 hostages. There it is, timeline release of hostages. And they're talking about, I want to say like 5 of them per week. Last I heard, there was like 49 of them. There it is, 5 Israeli hostages each week. Last I heard, there was like 49-ish, which would be 10 weeks, if that's true. There's no way Israel's going to go for this. I don't know. Egypt's trying to make something happen. A lot of people are wondering if that's why these pyramid stories are coming out. I think there's so much information about the pyramids that we've been not told, guys. Like, maybe times into that, but it's way larger than the stupid little geopolitical shit we're going through right now. Pyramids go way back, way back. So I think it goes back to the original problem, frankly. Which, man, there's many steps to get from here to there, but we'll get there. Paris statements. Ukraine and Russia, they have agreed to ensuring safe navigation in the Black Sea, the White House says. So it's agreement. I think there's a ceasefire going on the Black Sea now. I did see something that suggested Putin's nervous that Zelensky is not going to hold on this. I would assume that Trump is, I don't know what hardball he plays, because we don't really, I don't know if there's any money we can withhold or weapons we can withhold at this point from him, right? Kind of feel like we've put him out on their own, but, if the rest of the world wants to pursue it further, again, I'm curious to how this one plays out. That's all. I don't know. I don't feel like there's a lot of negotiating. Ukraine's effed themselves big time, and if England and Europe want to fund this, okay. And I think the United States and Russia were like, all right, that'll take all but 4 seconds before you guys are completely out of weapons. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Netanyahu's telling the High Court it has no authority to intervene on firing of Ronan Bar. Kind of similar stuff to what's happening here in the United States. Court's trying to control things. He's basically saying, screw you. If the administration doesn't trust the head of security, then we have no administration at all. It'd be like them telling us we couldn't fire our CIA director when Trump came into office. There's no way I'm inheriting the original CIA director that I definitely know I can't trust. Yeah, no, sorry. Very strange story that happened today. Syria, they lost complete and total network connectivity to the entire country. Completely lost network for 12-hour period, almost. 10-hour period-ish. Literally lost complete connectivity, which would mean any of their systems that rely on internet in any way, shape, or form, which most of them do, would no longer work. This was an attack of some kind. Something happened during that time. People were taken charge of. People got control of certain buildings. Certain buildings, maybe their security no longer worked now. There's just a number of very interesting things that likely happened in Syria at this moment in time. Israel could very likely have been behind this. Not sure who is, but it came back after about 12 hours. So something happened in Syria. Whether we'll ever find out about it, that's unlikely, but big stuff going on there. Magnitude 7.0 earthquake hits off the coast of New Zealand, the southern island there, down there by the Christchurch. I don't know if it was more further south than that. I didn't see where the actual epicenter was. But the 7.0 is a big-ass earthquake. Not uncommon for them, but still, that's a big-ass earthquake. So good luck, guys, down there. I would say cheers, but there's no reason to say thanks. So anyway, Boeing is trying to get out of this earlier agreement where it pled guilty in a long-running criminal case that blamed the poor safety records, the 737 MAX, whole lot of crap. I don't know if they got kind of screwed by the Biden administration on this or not, but they're actually asking, I think, the Trump administration to help a little bit on letting them backpedal from their plead. Usually you're not allowed to back out of a plead. Once you plead, you plead. That's why you don't plead unless you're ready to accept what comes with the plead. So I don't know if this is going to work. I wonder if Boeing's doing this because they got the contract for the F-47 and they're kind of thinking to themselves, hey, maybe they'll help us out. And I don't think Trump is. I think Trump's going to be like, no, you guys need to frickin' make that jet better. Seriously. And you need to pay the price for all the corners you cut because of McDonnell Douglas likely. Secondly, you need to get our damn new Air Force One jets built sooner. Y'all suck. So we're going to give you some money. And I'll guarantee you some of the reason why he's giving them money for the F-47 contract is because they've got the damn Air Force One planes. And I guarantee that was part of the deal. Look, I'm going to go with you guys on one condition. You get the damn Air Force One planes done within a year. I want to be flying in one of those in a year. I don't care what you got to do. And it better be safe. So we'll see what's going on. But there's a lot of interesting connecting dots on that particular problem. Samsung co-CEO Han Jung-hee, he dies at age of 63. A lot of people dying right now, aren't there? Kind of strange. Oh yeah, cool, that's everything. So yeah, the world's changing quickly. People are changing hands. It's a bad thing. Oh, the Dow's down a little? Whatever. Not bad. Not a bad day. We got a lot happening, folks. I love you guys. We're going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep doing my best to try to help you guys see what's happening, at least the best of my vantage point. And we're going to get through this. Ultimately, I did write down some funny stuff. It was I realized that every single one of us ultimately has to understand what we're going through. We have to come to our own understanding of the big picture. It just dawned on me with the stuff I'm trying to do with the Thursday and this book I'm reading, and each one of us has to understand our role in the bigger picture. And the walking through the doorway it's going to be a unique experience for a lot of us. A lot of us are going to just have different things that we're going to have to try to come to terms with. It tripped me out. It was weird. I could see a lot. I could probably do a whole hour on trying to explain all the craziness that I was like kind of realizing, and it was just okay. Wow, damn. So yeah, it's it's part of. I just do my best to help as best I can. I don't get into the specifics. I truly want to a lot, but I do try to cover broadly stuff that I think helps the majority of the people. I don't know. I hope you guys are making it with me. I love you guys. Make sure you subbed. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, all that good stuff. I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.